love your cat. You feed them well. You keep their litter clean. You give them attention. By every measure, you're a good cat owner. So why does your cat sometimes hide from you? Why do they flinch at random moments? Why do they seem anxious even in a home full of love? The uncomfortable answer is this. Some of the things we do every single day, things that feel completely normal to us, are quietly stressing our cats out. Not because we're bad owners, but because we're human, and cats are not. Today on Whisker Diary, we're going through the everyday habits that raise your cat's stress levels without you ever realizing it. And I promise you, at least one of these is going to make you think back to something you did this week. Let's start with something so ordinary, you probably don't even think about it anymore. The way you look at your cat. Humans are social creatures. We make eye contact to show interest, affection, engagement. So naturally, when we see our cat across the room, we look at them. We hold that gaze because we love them and we want them to know it. But to a cat, a long, unbroken stare from another creature means something completely different. In feline body language, prolonged direct eye contact is a dominant signal. In the wild, it means, I'm watching you. I'm a threat. Even between cats who know each other well, a hard stare can trigger tension. So when you lovingly gaze at your cat, and they look away, get up, or leave the room, they're not being rude. They're responding to what feels like a low-level confrontation. The fix is simple. Soften your gaze, and when you do make eye contact, slow blink. That single change in how you look at your cat can shift the entire energy of your relationship. And while we're talking about things we do without thinking, let's talk about how we pick our cats up. Most of us just grab them. We see them sitting somewhere cute, our heart melts, and we scoop them up. And for some cats, in some moments, that's completely fine. But for many cats, being picked up unexpectedly, especially from above, triggers a prey response. In nature, something coming from above and grabbing you is a predator. Their body doesn't always distinguish between a loving owner and a threat, especially if they didn't see you coming. You might notice your cat tolerates being held, but never truly relaxes into it. Their legs stay slightly tense. Their tail flicks. They're waiting to be put down. That's not a cat who dislikes you. That's a cat managing low-grade stress while trying to be a good sport about it. Before you pick your cat up, let them see you approach. Give them a moment to sniff your hand. If they lean in, you have a green light. If they lean back, respect it. Something else that creates more stress than most owners realize is unpredictable noise. Not just loud noises, unpredictable ones. Cats are creatures of pattern. Their nervous systems are wired to track their environment constantly, cataloging what's normal so they can immediately identify what isn't. A house with sudden bursts of sound, a TV that jumps in volume, a phone alarm going off in a quiet room, kids running in unexpectedly, keeps a cat in a low but constant state of alertness. They never fully relax because they never know what's coming next. This is one of the reasons cats often seem calmer in the early morning or late at night. The house is predictable. The sounds are consistent. They can finally let their guard down. If your cat spends a lot of time in one particular quiet room, they're not avoiding you. They're regulating themselves. And if your home is generally loud and unpredictable, that cat is carrying stress you probably can't see. If any of this is already making you see your home through your cat's eyes, you're exactly who Whisker Diary is for. We're here every week breaking down feline behavior in a way that actually helps you and your cat live better together. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming. And if this video is useful to you, a like really helps other cat owners find us. All right, let's keep going. because the next few habits are the ones most people push back on hardest. Here's one that's going to be controversial: too much attention. We know that cats get stressed from neglect, but the other extreme is just as real and far less talked about. Cats are independent by nature. They are not wired for constant interaction. When a cat retreats to a quiet spot, that's not sadness. That's self-regulation. It's healthy. It's necessary. But a lot of owners, especially those who work from home, follow their cat from room to room. They pick them up every time they settle. They interrupt naps for cuddles. They interpret every quiet moment as an opportunity for connection. And what they're actually doing is making their cat feel like they can never truly rest. Every time a cat closes their eyes and gets scooped up, or finds a quiet corner only to have someone appear 2 minutes later, their ability to decompress gets interrupted. Over time, a cat in this environment becomes hypervigilant, always half awake, always braced for the next interaction. The most loving thing you can sometimes do for your cat is leave them alone. Let them come to you. If they've settled somewhere and closed their eyes, let them sleep. They'll find you when they want you, and that interaction will mean so much more to both of you. Now let's talk about something that affects almost every multi-cat household without the owners ever connecting it to stress. Resources, food bowls, water dishes, litter boxes, sleeping spots, high perches. These things matter enormously to cats. Not because cats are greedy, but because resource availability is directly linked to safety in the feline brain. A cat who has to compete for food, share a litter box, or fight for the one sunny window spot is a cat running a quiet background program of anxiety all day long. The rule of thumb is 1 resource per cat, plus 1 extra. 2 cats means 3 litter boxes, ideally in different locations. 2 food bowls that aren't right next to each other. Multiple spots to sleep and climb. When cats don't have to compete, the subtle tension in a multi-cat home drops dramatically. And you'll often find that cats who seem to merely tolerate each other suddenly start actually relaxing in the same room. Sometimes, stress relief looks less like a behavior change and more like 2 cats finally napping on the same sofa. Here's one that surprises people: inconsistency. Not cruelty, not neglect, just inconsistency. A cat who is allowed on the sofa on weekdays but shoot off on weekends. A cat who gets fed at 7 a.m. most days, but sometimes at 10. A cat whose owner is calm and gentle most of the time, but occasionally comes home stressed and handles them more roughly without realizing it. Cats build their sense of safety around predictability. They learn the rhythms of your household, and they use those rhythms to feel secure. When those rhythms shift without explanation, their threat detection system quietly switches on. They can't know that you're stressed because of work. They can't know that the rules change because you have guests. All they know is that the world they understood yesterday works differently today. And that gap, that uncertainty, is stressful in a way that accumulates over time. You don't have to be perfect, but try to be consistent. Same feeding times, same boundaries, same tone of voice when you correct them. Predictability is one of the greatest gifts you can give a cat. And speaking of things that accumulate, let's talk about punishment. Not harsh punishment, just the everyday kind. The spray bottle, the stern no, the clap of your hands when they jump somewhere they shouldn't. These things feel like reasonable corrections to us. But from a cat's perspective, they often don't connect the punishment to the behavior at all. Cats live in a very immediate sensory present. If you spray them with water 30 seconds after they knock something over, they don't think, "I shouldn't have knocked that over." They think, my owner just became unpredictably threatening. Over time, a cat who is regularly startled or corrected by their owner starts to associate that person with low-level threat. They don't stop the behavior because they never made the connection, but they do start to feel less safe. They become more skittish, more avoidant, more stressed, and the owner often interprets that as the cat being difficult, when really the cat is just coping. Redirection always works better than punishment. Move them, not startle them. Show them where they can scratch instead of punishing where they did. It takes more patience, but it builds trust instead of eroding it. So let's bring this all together. Your cat is not anxious because something is wrong with them. They're anxious because they're a highly sensitive creature living in a human world that wasn't designed with them in mind. The staring, the sudden grabs, the noise, the inconsistency, none of it is malicious, but all of it lands, and it adds up. The good news is that most of these things are easy to change. Soften your gaze. Let them come to you. Keep routines consistent. Give them space to decompress. Add an extra litter box. Stop the spray bottle. Small shifts. But to your cat, they feel like a completely different home. If you watched our last video about how cats apologize, you already know how hard your cat works to maintain the bond between you. Now you know your side of that equation too. And with both pieces in place, everything your cat does is going to start making a lot more sense. Drop a comment and tell me, which habit in this video hit closest to home? I read every single one, and your questions are where our next videos come from. See you next week.